Welcome back. I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Shanna. She's a wealth strategist and a partner with Carson Wealth. They have over 900 million assets under management. Yes, it's about, 100 million, just shy of 1 billion, right? So crazy numbers right there. And if you want to learn how to build wealth and manage your wealth, she's your girl. And we're going to talk about how she built her business up to what it is today. Because as many of you guys know, the inspiration for this is because only 3% of women-owned businesses ever hit 7 figures in revenue, which is insane. So we're trying to change that. This is a movement to make 1 million self-made millionaires. So if you're a woman just starting out in business, this one's for you.
Thank you, Cathey.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning, right? Like, how did you get started in the industry you're in?
Yeah.
It's very much an old boys club, the financial services industry. I know that, just like my industry, right? So
I remember going to conferences from when I began. It was, nothing against the white male, but it was, 60, 56-year-old and, the very small percentage of women in the room. So
yeah,
I'm a long way actually from when we started, but we have a lot further to go.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah. So born and raised here in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Of this town.
That's rare.
I know, right? My husband too, randomly enough. So been here for, I'm 46 years, and I absolutely love living here. I feel like it's the best kept secret.
It's amazing here.
It truly is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just ended up staying here for college and ended up fast forward to 26 years old, cocktailing and finishing my bachelor's degree in economics, which what the heck do you do with that? Honestly. So after graduation, was introduced into this industry. And to be honest, I was making really great money, serving cocktails and drinks on the street.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money doing that in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was very hard to walk away from.
Golden handcuffs.
Yeah, and it's the funny story is I go back and visit a lot of my girlfriends, and they always joke, you're the only one that got out. But that was a long time ago. So 20 years ago, I ended up leaving to jump into this world as a sales assistant, actually. And funny enough, I think this is a great point to make, is I went from making almost 6 figures, serving drinks, to $26,000 a year in my first year.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah. It's like a major step back.
Yes.
To spring forward.
Yes. And so I didn't really know where I was going to end up. But that was, obviously the best decision I ever made. But I started with a firm here in town. I was there for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Very long time. Have nothing but utmost respect for that firm. I grew up there, really. But then I realized just really wasn't where I wanted to end.
Yeah.
I had a couple things that had happened in my life. Route 91 was one of them.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty life-changing.
You were there?
I was there.
Oh, my God. That's scary.
It was very scary. My girlfriend, my dearest friend, was with me. She was actually hit.
Oh, my God.
She survived.
Yeah.
But it was something that really made me think, is this where I wanted?
Yeah.
Is this where I need to be?
I should reevaluate life, right?
It really does. And so I started kind of going back to the drawing board. And so I started in the industry in 2003. I became a full-time advisor in 2008, which we all know what happened in 2008, right? The Great Recession.
That's the best time to start in financial services.
Well, honestly, it was because I didn't have any clients at that time, very minimal. And so people wanted advice.
Okay.
So I didn't have to have that story of, your assets have been cut in half. It was like, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And so I built my client base from there on out in 2008. And then in 2018, I left and I joined a female-owned firm here in town, actually. She was kind of brought me on as an advisor.
And that's all what would we mean?
It might have been.
Okay. Yeah. Because I went to your office when you had the partner. Okay.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I just joined her and everything was going great. And fast forward, she asked if, I wanted to become part owner, as she needed a succession plan, to be honest.
Okay.
And I honestly didn't want, at that moment in time, I didn't want the responsibility of owning a company because I know how much comes with that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to be a really great wealth advisor and strategist for my clients and grow that. And so she said, well, it's you or someone else. And we had bought and built our building space.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, she knows me, her clients know me. Okay, we're going to do this. And so we had a 5-year succession plan. At the end of year 2, we both decided we needed to fast forward. And so I ended up, she ended up retiring after 2 years, and I took over the company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been so basically that was the end of 2022.
Okay.
So very like-minded in regards to our goals and how we built our practice and our clientele, and so it worked out really well.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, and then you guys were a different firm, right? And then you rebranded to Carson.
We were Diamond Wealth Management.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So what was the rebranding like? What prompted that?
yeah, so Carson Wealth is a national brand.
Okay.
Diamond was a local brand, and so we've got clients all over the country.
Yeah.
Carson's such a great partner for me as they provide a lot of our services, and so they had actually asked me to represent them, and that's almost it's a compliment, right? Because they are putting their handprint or stamp. How do I say that? The stamp of approval on your firm. So I think it was just and it was Diamond was really hers, and so I felt like I needed to kind of take over. And
that's cool. So is Carson like is it like a franchise model, or how does that work?
Good question. So it's based out of Omaha. It's what we call an RAA.
Okay.
And so I'm what they call just a partner firm of theirs.
Okay.
So I'm independent. I run my own company.
So it's like a branch office almost, or
we're still independent.
Okay.
So I hire my people. I fire my people.
Oh,
we have our own standards. We have our own processes. There, I have my own limits. So we don't go by a model from the company.
Mm-hmm.
We can run our firms, but they support us in areas such as like compliance, marketing, investment management. There's about 140 partners across the country.
Yeah.
But we're still an independently owned company.
Yeah.
And we manage about 33 billion across the country.
Oh, wow.
So among the partners, there's about 50,000 families.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. So it's almost like an affiliate model. Is that kind of like a licensing or affiliate?
Yeah, I hang my licenses there.
Okay.
They just make sure the oversight is there and almost like a shelf of services that I can pick what I want.
Yeah.
But they don't mandate me to.
Oh, so you're not captive? Oh, that's really interesting then. Okay. Yeah, because I know with some of those, like insurance, for instance, like there's like State Farm, Allstate, they're captive, right? They can't. Or then there's brokers where they can go with any firm. And so with you guys, you can go with
an independent on the investments and the insurance side.
Wow, that's actually really cool. So you can go to any. Yeah, that's rare because my dad. I don't know if you know this, but my dad was a CFP. He was a managing partner at New York Life, so I'm very familiar with it. Okay, yeah. One of my first jobs back in the day when I was like 15 years old, I think they stuck me in his office all summer to cold call.
Oh, the worst.
And try to so I'd have a stack.
So outgoing.
I had a stack of resumes for agents. I was trying to recruit for him, recruit financial services, New York City.
Oh,
so it's like I'm very familiar with their industry.
You are. So I just got my CFP actually.
Okay, congrats. It's hard. It's harder to get than the CPA. And most people don't realize how hard it is to get a CFP, but my dad told me. He like reiterated that. He's like,
well, my girlfriend said it was harder than the state bar.
Oh, wow.
So it was the worst thing I've ever done, to be honest. And I'm raising 13-year-old twins, and the CFP was honestly.
But I think that's also another important lesson in entrepreneurship. Do the hard thing, right? I hear like so many newer entrepreneurs. I mentor a lot of newer entrepreneurs that are women in my female founders group. It's like my casual, it's going to become a charity, but for now it's really casual and grassroots, right? And some of these, they're like, oh, but that's a lot of work. I was like, entrepreneurship is a lot of work.
If it was easy, everyone would.
Right?
I say that all the time.
Yeah, that's like, they're like, that sounds like a lot of work what you're telling me to do. I was like, yeah, well, you wanted to be an entrepreneur. If you don't want to do a lot of work, you should stay at a job.
Seriously. Yeah.
So like the ones that are in their first like 2 or 3 years in business, I tell them what needs to be done and they're like, that's a lot of work. That sounds hard. I was like, it is hard.
And I remember in my first probably 10 to 12 years in this business, I worked 7 to 7.
Oh, same. Yeah.
I then went to an event.
Yeah.
After that, it was like,
same.
And I joke about the new hires now. It's like, okay, it's 4:30. I'm going home. Okay, that's fine. But just don't expect, ownership or equity or the growth that you really think, you want. So yeah,
exactly.
It's a grind.
It is. I was the same thing where I would work like 12 to 14-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week. And then evenings and weekends, I think I was going to maybe like 5 events a week when I was starting out, like network, nonstop. Because everyone now is like, how do you know everyone in Vegas? And I was like, do you know how many events I've gone to for the last like how many years of my life?
Yeah.
You'll probably know everyone in Vegas too if you went to 5 events a week. times, what is this? Since 2017, I started going to events.
Okay.
So
A long time.
yeah. So it was like exactly same kind of thing.
We joke that my friends are like, oh, the mayor of Las Vegas. Because I know a lot of people from growing up here.
Yeah.
Also just putting myself out there.
Exactly. And I know that's how we met, is going to Women Decision Makers. Our friend Shane, she's, I know, I need to do an interview with Shane. We had to reschedule. But like people like us, it's like we're just out there. We're out and about. We're like connecting, cultivating community. Yeah. And I think that's another thing that I do want to ask you about and talk about, because I feel like you're great at that. And again, it's a lesson that's very important for newer entrepreneurs, which is some newer entrepreneurs are very transactional, and that's not, no, that's not how you do it. So like, I'd love for you to share a little bit about like how you've cultivated community, built relationships, got business that way.
I love that question, because I think that's how I 100% grew my practice. And so early on, I was taught or told to build relationships with, we call them COIs, so centers of influence, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so that, in my space, that was other accountants, estate planning attorneys, business attorneys, really everyone that comes into contact with the clients, a lot of business owners. So I really started just developing relationships, and it did not happen like that. I mean, this was, let's have lunch, dropping in, thank you, here's a card, let's do that. Yeah. It took a long time. Yeah. But once those really got going, that's pretty much where all of my business comes from.
Exactly.
Our other professionals, and then other clients referring. I like to refer myself as an accountability coach. Yeah. So, I bring in the brain trust. So we'll bring in all the professionals that a client needs, but I'm the quarterback, right? And I'm making sure it all gets done. Like, did you get your estate planning done? Have you made sure that we're, have the right risk management? Yeah. We manage the assets. Like, it's, people are busy. They don't want to do all this, and they don't want to relay what I have to say, what the accountant has to say, what the attorney has to say, but they can have one person kind of doing it for them. Then the other professionals are like, hey, let's bring in Shanna because she can make it all happen, right? Smart. And so that the relationships just get deeper, and the roots get spread, farther.
Yeah, it's like we are definitely like bred from the same cloth, because I'm the same way, where I'm like, yes, I've been their commercial real estate advisor, but I also coordinate the GC for them, give them the attorney, give them the lender, give them everything they need to get that transaction actually done, instead of being like, I don't know, right? Because some agents, I was like, no, I have here's 3 commercial lenders I've worked with and I trust them. Here's 2 or 3 GCs I know and I trust them. You might also want a plumber or a roof inspector if you're buying a commercial property, because you want that, right? And then here's some commercial inspectors, and here's this and here's that, and like I've even like business consultants and all this kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of thing. And people are like actually the agent on my team who I handed, like I think we're up to 15 clients, because he's like, it was 13 yesterday, now we're at 15 today. I was like, congrats, dude. Like you're trying to find clients, and now I just gave you a bunch. I'm like, yeah, and he's just like, I'm really impressed. And I was like, look, it's not that difficult. It's actually really simple. It's just that like, and I tell this to all my agents, right? I say, there's 3 things you need to do to be successful in business: add value, care the most, and solve problems. I was like, it's really that simple. Most people overcomplicate it. Add value, care the most, solve problems, right? And communicate well.
Communicate, and I would add one more, which my dad installed this in me. He's like, just do what you say you're going to do.
Yes.
And I'm like,
accountability. Yes.
And so that's honestly been my biggest.
Oh, that is huge.
Nobody, but very few follow through.
Yes. And that's the biggest difference I've known, and I've recognized actually that same pattern. So I love that you bring it up, because when it comes to everyone in EO and 7-figure founders, 8-figure, 9-figure founders that are personal friends of mine, when they say they're going to do something, they do it. Even if it's a little late, sometimes I procrastinate. Most of us have ADD. Yeah, most of us have ADD. We're all busy, but you get it done. Yeah. Even if it means I have to stay up till 12 midnight. Sometimes I'm like, I'm sorry, the day got away. It's been crazy. But I promised you, but by end of day, I didn't say end of business day. So I send it at 12 midnight. I was like, or 11 p.m. I've done that before. And then yet, on the other hand, some of these people I mentor, these ladies, mostly I mentor ladies. Some of these ladies I mentor, they're like year 1 into their business, 2 years into their business or whatever. And then they cancel something like last minute. And it's like an event, let's say they're hosting. And I'm like, you planned this event for 4 or 5 weeks. You invited people and you decided to cancel it a week before. I was like, you don't do that.
No.
I was like, even if you have 1 person show up, you go for it. Even if you have 0 people show up, you show up because you're the host, right? And I was like, there's a huge part about that that's about credibility and about accountability and follow through, just like you said. And a big part of why I've built the reputation, I'm sure you have too, is because people recognize that.
Yep.
If you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You do that once, you do that twice, you cancel events, people are going to be like, she's flaky anyway. She's flaky. I don't want to go. It'll be canceled anyway. I'm not going to put it on my calendar, right? I've hosted events where it's like 2 or 3 people, but I've also hosted events where it's 50 people.
And sometimes the smaller, the 2, 3 actually are better because you're going deeper with those people in the moment. So,
yeah. I've actually, so I remember one event. It wasn't huge. It wasn't that small. It was maybe like 5 or 6 people. It resulted in a $2 million sale. But it was like an SBA info session. It wasn't a big turnout, but then because it was a small group, we got to interact. Yeah, and they're like, oh, I didn't know I could buy a building. And they started asking questions because it was a smaller group. They felt more comfortable. And that resulted in a $2 million sale. And actually, it's like this whole universal thing of events. That person, it's actually one of my good friends now, but she became a client from that. I met her at a networking event. She came to my event. She bought a building with me. She became one of my best friends. She introduced me to EO. So that's how I'm an EO.
I love that.
Because of her. So it's kind of crazy, this like sequence of it. But if I had canceled that event because only 5 people are RSVP'd,
agreed,
this never would have happened. And I have so many friends that, they're a lot of my mentees or whatever, they're my friends. Like, but I'm like, don't cancel your event like 2 days in advance. Don't cancel your event a week in advance. If you don't have the turnout, it's your job to call people, text people.
Well, I think that's something else. That's a great point. So, I'll say, hey, reach out to those people, to my team.
Yes.
And I specifically have to say call.
Yeah.
A lot of us are like, it's so easy to send an email, right? And
or email.
That's what people expect.
Yes.
When you get on the phone and call, they're so surprised and so grateful. Like, oh my gosh, she took the time to call me and ask me how I'm doing versus like, hey, I hope all is well, right? Like,
yes.
So I think that's something that we really strive to do.
Yes.
The service level is 100% our model in regards to in our industry, because investments are commodities.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And, and that's another thing, like we're not the lowest fee in our industry because I'm going to provide value.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like cost is only an issue in the lack of.
Yeah. It's all about ROI. That's what I say. I was like, it's all about what you net in your ROI. Same with like my brokerage firm. There's 100% firms out there. There's tons of 100% firms. And then like, actually I just got asked this question by a lender who's like a referral partner. And she was like, I'm genuinely curious because I'd love to refer agents to you, but most agents ask me like, what are the splits like? And I was like, we're not the 100% firm. Nor will we ever be. We're not a discount brokerage because we are not discount. I was like, if they want the Walmart, go to Walmart. We're not the Walmart. I was like, we're the Louis Vuitton of real estate is what I call it. I'm like, if you want Louis Vuitton, you come to us. I was like, you know why? Because we'll give you the value, we'll give you the prestige, we'll give you the guidance. I was like, literally my business partner, Lisa, and I are launching a mastermind that's going to be about probably $35,000 a year because her mentor is Ken McRae, who's Robert Kiyosaki's right hand, and he has a mastermind that charges about $50,000 a year. And so it's kind of like EOYPO, but for real estate women.
Got it.
So they have to have 10 million assets under management in a real estate portfolio or be an agent that does 15 million plus sales volume. And so I was like, to qualify to join our mastermind. And so, but then they have to pay $35,000 a year. And so I was like, but if you're an agent that does 15 million plus sales volume and you join us, we give you free access to that.
Got it.
And then you're going to be personally mentored by Lisa and I. And we don't do like that hourly $500 an hour. Like I said, I'd rather go to yoga. Yeah. I was like, I don't need this money, actually. I put the high barrier to entry so that people have skin in the game. And honestly, I'm probably going to donate most of that to my charity foundation. It doesn't, I'm like, I don't need the money at this point. I'm very fortunate.
That's being an entrepreneur. So I just celebrated 20 years.
Yes.
And so I
congratulations.
It's a long journey. But when you finally get to a point, and it did, not lack of trying.
Yes.
It took a lot of work to get to this point. But having a facial later today.
I love it. I'm so excited.
At 3:30.
I know.
Afternoon, but
I'm so proud of you for doing that.
It took a long time to do that.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that I've realized in the last year or less is I've taken on a client. I've taken everyone that needed help for many, many years. And that's how I've built my practice. But now I'm very intentional of who I want to work with.
Yeah.
It's not all about how much money they have to invest. It's, do I like you? Are you responsive? Are you going to act on at least some of my recommendations? Are you going to get me what I need? Are we going to have a great relationship? And I think that's been such a game changer because now I'm attracting those people now that I put that out there versus like I need anyone or any client. So that's been interesting.
I love that
year.
Yeah. It's literally like I'm on the same trajectory. That's so kind of crazy because I've been on the same path where I used to just be like, I'll help anyone. Because I think we both
you fog a mirror, I can help you.
Yeah, exactly. I think in the beginning, it's many things, right?
Yeah.
Part of it is like we genuinely want to help people, and that's why we're in the industries we are. Another part of it is also like that survival mode. I think when you're hungry, you're like, I'll take anything I can get, right? But then you get to this point of like, maybe that's not in alignment with me.
Yes.
And I have like a strict no assholes rule. And I'm also like, in this time in my life, I'm like, I value peace of mind and purpose over profits. So if you're not in alignment with my peace of mind or my purpose, then I don't need the money. I've literally like just refer people out all the time. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I told my team.
Open this.
Yes.
I was joking with my husband the other day. I said, I need to stop manifesting because it's all coming true.
No, I love it. Me too. I love the manifesting.
Talking about.
No, it's so good.
So it is true. I really think if you put it out there, you want it, it will come.
It will. No, I'm a big believer. I was like, we can go down a rabbit hole about manifested. But it's so true. Like, I feel like every multi-millionaire I know believes in and talks about manifesting, actually. And when I was like starting out or newer in the journey, I used to be like, what is this woo-woo shit is what I called it, right? And I was like, it's actually not woo-woo. So I don't know how deep down the rabbit hole you've dove, but the Joe Dispenza stuff, and so the quantum physics behind it is that essentially humans are like antennas, and we have we send out kind of like radio waves, and so that manifesting comes from the way you think and feel about things. So there's actually like, it's measurable, like, so it sounds woo-woo, but it's kind of like gravity. You can't see it, but it exists. So manifesting is real, and it's like, and they call it a law of attraction, but the better terminology they said is actually like law of reciprocity or resonance. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. So when you radiate joy, love, authenticity, generosity, you get the same in return.
I think that's true. Yeah. When you look at it.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's amazing. I was like, I love it.
I think one other thing that I love to mention, especially to the advisors that I'm, in my office or that I'm mentoring, is try to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Be open. Sometimes I'm too open at the book, and I will tell you anything you want to know. But it's hard sometimes for people to open up and talk about like, oh, my kids do this, and I talk about my kids all the time. I have two 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
One boy, one girl, and they're so opposite. And I would tell you everything about, good and bad, right? And it's not perfect. And we're all going through crazy stuff in our lives and trying to balance everything and running around like crazy people, running a company, all these things. But I really try to be as real as possible, not like, this is my perfect life, because it's far from perfect.
Yeah, perfect doesn't resonate with anyone, honestly. And I'm the same way. I feel like, it's like definitely kindred spirits, because one of the things is one of my themes this year is embrace authenticity. And I added embrace extreme authenticity into it. And I tell my team this same thing, where I'm like, people are going to resonate with you when they see that you're a real person, when they see the human aspect of you. That's what makes you like relatable. That's what makes you not a commodity. And most people are afraid. Like you said, they're like, they want to be all proper. And I've been there. I've been guilty. I'll be the first to admit, when I first started in business, I was like, I have to be professional Cathey. Like my husband joked, he used to be like, there's professional Cathey and then there's Cathey at home. And like Cathey at home is all, I'm the same now. So Cathey at home is weird and quirky and like, wears her pajamas all the time. And then now sometimes I'll just go out in my pajamas. I'm like, F it. Like I have this like, I have a leopard print like onesie pajama. And I was like, I'm really tempted to just wear this out today. And sometimes I do. And I'm just like, it's fine. No one's going to care. And people find it hilarious. I'm just like, I love your outfit. And then I start talking to people.
It's perfect. It's a conversation.
It is. And so it's stuff like that where it's like you're afraid to be authentic yet. And actually, one of my agents, her name's Marianne. She recently joined me like a few months ago. She is like the perfect example of this. She like does like these videos when she's like putting on her curlers or in her curlers, and she's gotten a deal from it. She literally has like a client that goes like, "Oh my God, I saw your video when you're talking about like your curlers and stuff," and I just said, and it reminded me to like reach out to you because like someone's looking to sell, and she got a referral out of that. That's literally doing like, and so that's like the truth of it, right? Like there's literal ROI and examples of like post stupid videos, be yourself, be your full, authentic, vulnerable, imperfect self, and that you're gonna attract the clients that like really resonate with you. And people are afraid of that. They don't understand. And I exactly, like I'll be the first to admit, when I started new in business, I was like, I don't want to act.
No,
I need to be like, I need to be proper. And then I'm like,
even in the 20 years like transition of I think females too in this industry. So I suit every day.
Same.
Right.
Oh, I hated that shit, but I did it.
I said now I feel like it's almost, we're just talking about athletic wear, right? Of, I wear a lot of jeans with blazers and some cute white tennis shoes, and it's received. That's what's so neat about it. It's not like, look, you're not looked at as improper. It's like, oh, she owns what she's doing and killing it.
Yeah. And I realized, like, the less you feel like you get to the point, I feel like it's like, I'm not trying to impress anyone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore. And like I was sharing with you earlier, like I have a lot of friends that are like 8, 9, 10-figure entrepreneurs, right? And they're just like, they're in athleisure all day. They don't have no one to impress. And I was like, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I want to be a billionaire. That's my goal. 8 years is what I was told. So one of my friends gets these like premonitions, and she said everyone has come true. Like she'll have them about her friends. Like, you're going to be a speaker one day. You're going to do this. And she's like, you're going to be a billionaire in 8 years. What does she charge? She does. She just tells you when she gets like these channels from the universe. And then she literally one day was like, Cathey, you're going to be a billionaire in 8 years. I was like, okay, that's kind of random. So she's like, she's like, no. I get like these messages from God. And I was like, okay. She's like, seriously, every single one of them has come true. I was like, I like that. So I'm going to be a billionaire in 8 years.
Perfect.
She's like,
just gonna reference this video.
Yeah.
You're like, remember?
I know. She's like, you just gotta invite me on your private jet. I'll be like, anytime. Any fucking time, right? So it's great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And actually, going back to the vibrational energy, the vulnerability and authenticity that you talked about, there's actually the science behind it. If you like Google it, I think it's like the human vibrational frequency scale. Authenticity is supposed to be the highest. So it's love and joy are up there, and then authenticity is the very highest. And there's I think the guy's name is Gary Brecka. He did talk about this, about how authenticity vibrates at the highest frequency, and that's how you're manifesting.
I love it.
All those things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
That's so cool. So what have you like manifested recently? Now I want to hear some of these.
Really, it's my business.
Okay.
To be honest,
amazing.
Like, and this first 6 weeks, it's been unbelievable.
Same.
Honestly, it's just like I'm just putting it out there of who I want as my ideal client.
Same.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting back into business development because last year was just a lot of transition with the
company. We're in such a similar path. It's so crazy.
Oh, and so now I'm like able to do more with EO. I joined EO. Obviously, I've been able to go to more events.
Yep.
I'm purposely attending things that I know that I will enjoy. Yeah. It's not just to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mentioned my kids earlier. My children are 13. They're only going to be around for so much longer.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend time doing things that aren't fulfilling to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I don't go to things anymore. Yeah. And so I think that's the thing. Like, what I've been manifesting, like, what can I go to that I will enjoy? In turn, it helps with business. And even in my personal and social life, I've said no a lot more than I ever have.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
It's actually been really nice.
I love that for you. It's great. Sometimes less is more, and it's great to have that freedom of choice.
Yes. And I feel like I have FOMO for sure. Mm-hmm. I will get on every social calendar. I love going and doing things.
Yeah. Are you coming to Galentine's tomorrow?
I am.
Okay, Galentine's. Yeah,
I didn't say no to that.
Okay.
But I said no to everything in January.
Yeah.
Every single thing. Yeah. I stayed home for a month.
Oh, wow.
It was really crazy. But I felt like I needed a reset.
Yeah, sometimes you do. I called it, now in hindsight, I call it a spiritual sabbatical of last probably 8 months last year. But it's similar to what you're saying, like I just needed a reset.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of things. When I was in the depths of it, is severe anxiety and depression, to be totally transparent, right? Like, I've shared this story openly now, like, that I'm out of it. And in the midst of it, I don't think, especially us as leaders, we don't want to admit that. We don't want to seem weak to our team. Yeah. We don't want to seem like we're incapable or we're not a strong leader. And so I didn't talk to people about it until I was out of it. Now I can share the story. But when I was in the midst of it, I was like, didn't talk about it. And that's like, that's like what, but yeah, I took this depression, like unintentional spiritual sabbatical existential crisis. And then now I'm back in biz dev. But like what motivated me and like was that turn, EO was a big part of it. The other one was Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. Changed my life. And I realized what caused my depression is kind of crazy and silly. I just wrote a chapter this morning for a book I'm co-authoring about this concept. I call it The Breakthrough Comes After the Breakdown. And I think you probably relate to this. And a lot of really successful entrepreneurs can too as well. because I started having these conversations with EOers. And then people were like, I've been there. And I was like, no one ever talks about this. No one ever talks about this. And so the depression usually comes when so first part of my life, survival mode, financial security, financial freedom. I'm the child of immigrants. All I ever wanted was for my mom to be able to retire, number one, and be financially secure. And then for myself to be financially secure and financially free. I achieved that by the time I was 33, which was 2022. 2023, I went into this deep depression. Like, what's next? What's my purpose? I lost my purpose. I achieved my purpose, and I felt like, I don't have a purpose anymore. Yeah. And then I just got into this existential crisis depression situation. And then EO really helped me through. My forum was a great support group. And they didn't judge me for it. It wasn't like normal people, I guess, or not people that are in EO would have been like, you have so much money. Yeah. Why would you be depressed? You literally have everything you could ever want. And then I was like, but they don't understand. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And it's crazy that people don't realize that. And so financial success is great to an extent. Yeah. But once you make over a certain amount, it's not going to change your lifestyle. It's not going to fulfill you forever. And then so there's a great book my friend recommended called The Second Mountain. And it talks about this, where it's typically your first mountain is all about financial goals, financial personal achievement. Then you go into this valley of despair, which a lot of us go into, which is what I was in last year. And then you go into your second ascent, which is all about community, serving, paying it forward. What's your legacy? Yeah. That's but I see a similar trajectory in your life, which is why I share that, because I feel like what you're sharing is very similar to me. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting when I mentioned Route 91. Yeah. PTSD's, that's real, right?
Yes.
Of course. I didn't have that. Yeah. I love it. I finally found the term. It came to me about a year ago. And it was called post-traumatic growth.
Oh. That's interesting. I've never heard of that before.
And that's what ended up ultimately pushing me off the ledge to make that big decision and leave where I was. But I thought that was very interesting of how when we are faced with some type of trauma in our lives. I'd lost my dad before, which was very something it was just it was a lot in 18 months. And I think that was where I finally I could go into that deep depression or I could go the other way, right? Yeah. So at the time I wasn't even aware. Yeah. But now that I look back on it, it's crazy how we handle those peaks and valleys. So.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway. Yeah, that's difficult. Was your dad here or? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Pretty close?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's difficult. Yeah.
Really hard. Yeah. Very pretty sudden. But yeah,
is your mom still?
She's here.
Okay. Yeah, is your mom still around? Okay.
My brothers and
so she had at least a support system and the rest of your family around, but still difficult. Yeah.
Not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was my cheerleader too. My whole family, no one really understood business. I was the first one to go to college in my extended family. And I was like, I'm going to go do this. And my mom always jokes. She's like, every time you say, since you were a kid, you're like, I'm going to do this. You did it. I was like,
isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah. But it was like, well, I'm going to go to college and then this. I'm going to go get a career or do this. And then you do this. And then I with my kids, it was boy, girl twins. It's just very efficient.
Yeah. I love it.
IVF and the whole thing. But
I love it.
It's just, it's been a fun journey. So
no, that's great. Right. And that's why you're successful, because every time you said you're going to do something, you do it. Same kind of thing where people know, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. And they're like, what the hell? Everything you say. I'm like, just clarity. Yeah. It's not, I never say, I hate the word, I'll try. I'm like, you don't try, you do. I was like, you either do or you don't. There's no try. You make it a resolution.
You want it or not. That's kind of what I tell them. It's do you want to get this done or do you want to?
Yeah, I hate when people say, I'll try. I was like, no, you won't. Are you going to do it? Give me a yes or a no.
I see you tomorrow or not.
Not I'll try. So they're I'll try. I was like, no. Have you read Think and Grow Rich?
No.
Okay, so Think and Grow Rich is one of those I don't know, really legacy business mindset books, but it talks about this. So it's desire and faith, and there's a concept in there that they talk about, but essentially it's a burn the boats concept. Don't have a plan B. Basically, if you're going to be successful, you power through no matter what. You're there's only plan A, and I might change the route to get where I need to go, but I'm going to get where I need to go. And that's how I've always operated. And that's, I realized,
I think I need to read that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's one of the lessons before. It's really crazy because before I read Think and Grow Rich, I already put that lesson in the last book I co-authored with a bunch of EO women. Actually, it's Lead Like a Woman Audacity. And so my thing was okay, one of the things was that when I graduated college, I was there was 600 applicants for 5 positions. It was a rotational training program, the only commercial real estate position where you were salaried because most of it's commission, and you got to learn in every department.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I got to learn from the top investment sales broker in the entire U.S., probably the world. She did 145 billion in sales career volume. Yeah, because it's New York. Like, I mean, they sell the. I don't think our market. I don't think the Vegas market has 145 billion. Maybe if we took in maybe the casinos, but not like local, right? And so she had, and I trained with her for 3 months, and I got to train with one of the top office leasing teams, which did Sony and WeWork and Thrillist and all these big names. And that's how I started fresh out of college. But I was like, I knew I wanted that so bad because I was like, I would basically get paid to do what's like a master's degree in commercial real estate. And so I was like, I'm really
learn from the best versus a book, right?
Yeah. So literally everyone I was graduating with was like, I applied to 3 jobs, 5 jobs. I was like, I applied to 1. And they're like, what? I was like, 1 job. I was like, I only want 1. And they're like, what if you don't get it? I was like, I'm going to get it. I literally just was like, I'm going to get it. And they're like, how? And I was like, I was president of the this goes back to networking, what we talked about, right? So I was president of the real estate club. What I did was I hosted an event on, I forget, it was like, I think careers in commercial real estate. I found the HR manager for CBRE where the job was. I was like, hey, I'm the president of the real estate club at this college. Can you come speak? Oh my God. So by the time I interviewed, they knew me.
Yeah.
So they're like, how did you get? I was like, I knew the guy that was interviewing me. I invited him to come speak at the college.
Oh my gosh. Perfect.
But this goes back to like, closed mouths don't get fed. Do the work, do the thing. Like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. What's the worst thing you can say now? Right? And I'm sure you're the same way where like, I feel like you're not afraid to just like ask people.
No. My husband jokes with me. He's like, Barbara Walters. I'm like, what? He goes, you just like know everyone's story by the end of the day. I love it in the airplane. He's like, he'll tell people I sell insurance, so no one talks to him.
Oh, no.
Like, which story?
Yeah, it's so funny. I feel like our hobbies are like very similar. I feel like it's always like when you're a power woman, like they're like, I'm sure. Yeah. Because a lot of the husbands of EO women are like, where I was like, oh, your husband doesn't want to come out. He just wants to be at home. Mine too. I was like, I didn't know what to do. They don't know. I say it's like the dogs and cats. So like we're like the dogs. We're like, oh my God, so excited. And then he's like, cat.
It's like the opposite.
Yeah.
And I have to help them. It's so true.
It is so true.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, okay. So final words of advice for women starting out in business. Like if you're,
don't give up, right? Yeah. Like there's so much opportunity. I always, joke with people like, oh, there's another advisor, another person in your industry. I'm like, great. We can learn from one another.
Yes.
It's not competition. There's so many people that need our help. I just embrace meeting others.
I love that.
Because I think we can learn from each other. But put yourself out there, be vulnerable, be open. Don't stay in your office and think people are going to call you because that's not the way.
Go out and get it,
right? Even the cold calling that anymore. So let's get in the community, I think, and find what resonates with you, whether it's a group of, whatever your hobby is or what you like. I think the passion is what drives.
Yes, I agree. So. Collaboration over competition. I'm the same way. I'm like, people are like, why do you give advice to agents that are not at your firm? And I was like, why not?
Why not?
Right? Like, exactly. Because I'm like, I'm the broker, obviously I'm a real estate firm, and literally like I get calls like sometimes 2-3 agents from different firms, competitor firms that call me, and I was like, this is interesting. They're not calling their broker. And literally some of them have told me, yeah, my broker is either like A, unapproachable, or B, they like are not available and they won't answer my call for 3 to 5 business days. They're like, you always answer my calls. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's part of our industry.
I love it. I love that you said that. So this is one other thing is the queen bee syndrome.
Yeah.
That's got to go.
Yeah.
Like when I walk into a room, I do not feel like I'm this person that knows everything. I probably know as an advisor for 20 years, I'm probably at a level 5 because there's always so much to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm never, like, oh, I'm better than this person.
I love that. Yeah.
Don't be the queen bee.
I love that. Yeah.
Just be open.
I agree with you so much. And that like so many things resonate because it's so true. And I was like, yeah, it's funny because the people who are the most successful are also the most humble. I realized everyone I met in EO who is at least a 7-figure founder, sometimes 8-9 figures, are so humble. And they're like, I know what I don't know. And I also I have this growth and learner mindset, and I'm always humble. The people who are the most arrogant and think they know it all are usually the people in year 1 or 2. And I was there. I'll admit, again, I'm the first one to admit, I was that person when I was in year 1 or 2. I thought I knew it all. And I was a shit, and I was so arrogant. And then I realized how much I didn't know as I progressed on my journey.
Yeah.
And that's another like thing to keep in mind. Like, be humble, stay humble, and always have that growth and learning mindset. And if someone's willing to invest the time and energy into you, like, be grateful.
Yeah.
Be grateful. Like, the reason why I have the mentors I do and why I'm like so blessed with that is because, one, I was always grateful to them. Like, I always showed my gratitude, expressed it like in many ways, verbalized it, you know, maybe do a little, like, provide a little gift. I love gifts. They're my love language. I love giving gifts. And just like actually taking action, like we talked about. So like my mentor, I met her through EO. She's a 3-time 8-figure founder. Her name's Dr. K. She wrote an awesome book called Motivation. So it's motivation with an N. And she's like just such a badass, like 3-time 8-figure founder. Crazy. And she works like 10, 12 hours a week now, running an 8-figure business, right? And she teaches 7-figure females how to scale to 8 figures. And the reason she told me to, she's like, I like helping you because you actually do the work.
Yeah.
So I met her in January of 22. By October of 22, like, so January when I met her, in the weeds in every aspect of my business, overwhelmed, overworked, stressed out, anxious, all the things. By October of that year, I had my systems in place. I didn't have to be in my work anymore. I could travel for 2 weeks. I could travel for a month. I could do whatever I want.
Life-changing.
It is. And so she provided me with the systems, but I actually implemented them.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
You don't let go so far as
Yeah.
you're not implementing.
Yes. So I love that.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I was like, I love it. So many great lessons. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for your time. And how can people find you? What's the best way?
Probably email.
Okay.
So it's my Kehoe, SKEHOE at Carson Wealth.
Okay. Cool. Are you on social media?
Oh, I am on social media. I am on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay,
It's
LinkedIn.
probably the best one. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is my name, Carson Wealth.
Okay, so we'll link her LinkedIn and email in the caption of this video. So if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to Shanna directly, and y'all know how to find me by now. But Cathey Quo, same as my YouTube. Slide in my DMs is what I say. Literally, that's
That is like
yeah. I'm like Instagram. I was like, slide in my DMs. Well, cause like I have like YouTube, like I don't know. There's no DMs in YouTube, first of all, and so I go on Instagram and slide in my DMs is the best way. And if you like this conversation and the lessons here and videos like this, then be sure to like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions for us, and we'll get them answered. So look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks. Have a good one.